In 1588, Francis Drake leads English fireships against the Spanish Armada, flames erupting on the dark sea. Fireships crash into the Armada's crescent formation, scattering Spanish galleons in chaos under the night sky. A dynamic map shows fireships breaking the Armada's line, Drake's silhouette commanding from an English ship. Spanish galleons battered by North Sea storms sink beneath towering waves, wreckage floating in the darkness. Survivors cling to debris as storms rage, a map tracing the Armada's failed retreat around Scotland. Broken ships litter the sea, symbolizing Spain's shattered dreams of invading England in 1588. In 1588, Spain, led by King Philip II, dominates Europe, its wealth built on New World gold. Philip II, crowned and resolute, plans to invade England and overthrow Queen Elizabeth II's Protestant rule. A map of Europe highlights Spain's vast empire from the Americas to the Mediterranean. In 1521, the Spanish Armada, with 130 ships, assembles to crush England and restore Catholic dominance. Galleons, heavily armed, carry 30,000 men, ready to conquer England's shores under Philip's command. Spanish soldiers, battle-hardened from European wars, prepare for a decisive invasion across the Channel. Philip II's silhouette stands before a map, plotting the Armada's path to England's coast. Spain's navy, the largest in the world, symbolizes unmatched power on the seas in 1588. The Armada's mission: land troops, defeat England's fleet, and topple Elizabeth's throne forever. The Armada, led by Duke of Medina Sidonia, sails with 130 galleons, bristling with cannons. Medina Sidonia, in noble attire, stands on the flagship San Martin, commanding despite limited naval experience. A dynamic map shows the Armada's crescent formation, designed to protect against enemy attacks. Galleons like San Martin, 1,000 tons, carry 2,500 cannons, most for close-range combat. Spanish troops, trained for boarding and hand-to-hand fighting, prepare to storm English ships. The crescent formation, perfected over decades, ensures the Armada's strength against traditional naval tactics. Medina Sidonia, uneasy, studies maps on the San Martin, aware of the invasion's high stakes. Spanish sailors load cannons, their bronze barrels gleaming under the sun, ready for battle. A map traces the Armada's journey from Spain, crossing the Atlantic toward the English Channel. The Armada's size overwhelms smaller fleets, its galleons towering over the waves in 1588. Spanish banners bearing crosses flutter above galleons, symbolizing the Catholic mission against England. Medina Sidonia's orders: sail to the Netherlands, link with Spanish troops, then invade England. The Armada's soldiers, conquerors of the Aztecs and Italy, bring unmatched experience to the fight. A dynamic map shows the Armada nearing the English Channel, ready to face Elizabeth's fleet. Spain's confidence grows, believing the Armada invincible against England's smaller, less equipped navy. England, under Queen Elizabeth I, prepares to defend against Spain's massive Armada. In 1588, Elizabeth I, crowned and resolute, rallies her navy to protect England's Protestant independence. Francis Drake, with a compass in hand, commands England's fleet, known for his daring tactics. Charles Howard, England's admiral, coordinates with Drake to outmaneuver the larger Spanish Armada. A map compares England's 80 smaller ships to Spain's 130 galleons, highlighting the challenge. English ships, lighter and faster, rely on long-range cannons and superior maneuverability in battle. Drake's silhouette stands on deck, plotting fireship attacks to disrupt the Armada's formation. English sailors prepare fire ships, loading barrels of pitch to set galleons ablaze at night. A dynamic map shows England's fleet positioning off the coast, ready to engage the Armada. Elizabeth Thurchufars. Eisensilly Padan, Adolfurstown Chatter Zuzan speech at Tilbury inspires her troops, her silhouette against a waving English flag. Durin, English cannons designed for distance give an edge over Spain's close combat artillery. Drake's experience as a privateer shapes England's strategy, focusing on speed and surprise. A map tracks the Armada entering the English Channel, unaware of England's tactical plan. English ships, outnumbered, rely on hit-and-run tactics to weaken the Armada's formation. The stage is set for Gravelines, where England's strategy will face Spain's might in 1588. On August 8, 1588, the Battle of Gravelines begins as England's fleet engages the Armada. A dynamic map shows English ships circling the Armada, firing cannons from a safe distance. Spanish galleons struggle to respond, their short-range cannons ineffective against England's tactics. Fire ships, set ablaze, drift toward the Armada, their flames lighting up the night sea. Spanish sailors panic as fire ships approach, cutting anchor cables to escape the inferno. The Armada's crescent formation collapses, galleons scattering under the fire ship assault. A map shows the Armada's line breaking, English ships exploiting the chaos to attack. English cannons pound the San Martin, Medina Sidonia's flagship, as smoke rises from impacts. Spanish troops, trained for boarding, find no targets as English ships stay out of reach. A dynamic map highlights the Armada's disarray, with galleons drifting apart in confusion. Drake's silhouette directs English ships, coordinating precise strikes on vulnerable Spanish galleons. Spanish cannons fire desperately, their shots splashing harmlessly into the sea against distant foes. The English, using wind advantage, outmaneuver the Armada, firing volleys from long range. A map shows the battle's chaos, with fire ships and cannon fire disrupting Spanish unity. Medina Sidonia, aboard the San Martin, signals retreat, his face tense with defeat. Spanish galleons, battered by English cannons, take heavy damage as the battle intensifies. Smoke and fire fill the air, simple star-shaped flashes marking cannon impacts on galleons. A dynamic map tracks the Armada's retreat northward, pursued by relentless English ships. Spanish sailors, exhausted, struggle to repair damaged galleons amidst worsening weather. The North Sea's storms begin, waves crashing over Spanish decks, foreshadowing greater losses. A map shows the Armada's path veering north, forced to circle Scotland to escape. English ships shadow the Armada, firing occasional shots to maintain pressure on the enemy. Spanish morale collapses. Sailors pray as their ships face relentless English pursuit. A dynamic map illustrates the Armada's desperate northward flight, with English ships trailing. The Battle of Gravelines ends, leaving the Armada scattered and vulnerable to nature's wrath. Storms batter the Armada as it rounds Scotland, waves swallowing galleons in the North Sea. A map traces the Armada's retreat, marking shipwrecks along Scotland and Ireland's coasts. Spanish sailors, stranded on rocky shores, face starvation and hostile locals after shipwrecks. Over 50 Spanish ships sink, their wreckage littering the sea, a testament to defeat. Medina Sidonia, defeated, gazes at the horizon, his Armada reduced to a broken fleet. A dynamic map shows the Armada's losses, with red crosses marking sunken galleons. Spanish survivors, clinging to debris, drift in the cold North Sea. Their mission failed. The San Martin, battered but afloat, limps toward Spain with the remaining fleet. A map highlights the Armada's circular route, with only half the fleet returning home. Spanish soldiers, once conquerors, return humiliated, their dreams of invasion shattered. Philip II, in his palace, learns of the Armada's failure, his face heavy with defeat. A map shows Spain's empire, still vast, but weakened by the Armada's catastrophic loss. England celebrates victory, Elizabeth I's leadership cementing her nation's resolve and strength. A dynamic map illustrates England's rising naval power, overshadowing Spain's dominance. The Armada's defeat marks a turning point, signaling Spain's decline in European power. England's navy, led by Drake and Howard, gains fame, laying foundations for empire. A map shows England's future expansion, with colonies spreading across the globe. Elizabeth I's silhouette, crowned, stands proud, her victory shaping England's golden age. The Battle of Gravelines shifts history, weakening Spain and strengthening England's global ambitions. A final map traces England's rise, the Armada's defeat, a cornerstone of the British Empire.